My name is Glenn Rohr, and I am a conservative Republican candidate for the Senate District 1 seat. I've lived here in Priest River for going on 23 years now. And before I made this my home, I had completed a 20-year career in the military. I enlisted as an aircraft mechanic at Lincoln College, and was finally selected in pilot training and flew for 14 years, retired as a major. But during the time that I flew in the Air National Guard, I was also able to complete a 20-year career in aerospace. Started as an industrial engineer, moved into supervision and management, became the test director, aircraft manager for the B-1B for Rockwell, and later the production manager for aircraft number 1 stealth bomber for Northrop. When I did come to Idaho, I continued my management career, and I worked in companies throughout Idaho, Montana, and Washington. And I found it particularly difficult learning how to keep a company going during the hunting season. But I did prevail, and I continued, and I retired in 2007 as a plant manager. I think it's important to commit to your community, and that's why when I first got here, I volunteered to become the first planning and zoning administrator for the city. I worked with Doug Wagner over here for a while, and I say volunteered, but it is pretty much voluntary service because I made $75 a month. But it was great, and I got to know the community and the people, and I really enjoyed it. More recently, I've served as the Bonner County Chief Judge for Elections, and I've also served on the Priest River Airport Advisory Board. With my wife, Michelle, we've been long-term members of Priest Lake Search and Rescue. We've donated at the Bird Aviation Museum at Conception, and we are long-term supporters of the Priest River Regatta. I'm a lifelong Republican, and I'd like to ask for your vote, but let me just real quickly go over my values if I have time. I'm a very conservative Republican. I'm a very constitutional. I have constitutional values. I will not vote for any bill that does not have a basis in the Constitution and conflicts with it. House Bill 1 that Heather talked about is a terrible bill and should be repealed. It brought foreign law in our courts. I did not vote for it, my opponent did. I'm a fiscally conservative Republican. I realize the country has a difficult situation in finances, and I don't want to see a state budget propped up 30% of federal funds. I'm a Second Amendment supporter. I joined the NRA in 1960, and I can report now that I have an A- rating. And I support schools and education. I believe we need to support our teachers and give them the ability they need to teach while not drive them to Common Core requirements. Please vote for me. Pardon me, that was a fraud. Please vote for me, Glenn Rohr, on May 17th. Thank you.
So anyway, I've been fortunate to serve this county as your sheriff for the last term, and I'm vying for another chance to serve for one more term. I do have 30 years law enforcement experience. The certificates I hold in my state of Idaho are basic, intermediate, advanced, a supervisory certificate, a management certificate, an executive certificate. I have attained a post-certified certificate so that I do teach, and I have oversee right now about over a third of the county employees here in Bonner County. So we're consisted of several divisions. We have 140 employees. We have over 50 volunteers. And I'll tell you what, the greatest value at the Sheriff's Office are their employees. They do a fantastic job. I was endorsed 4 years ago by the Sheriff's Guild as I ran for sheriff. And this year, they unanimously endorsed me again as to run for sheriff. I am past president of the Idaho Sheriff's Association. I am the current Idaho Sheriff's Association legislative chairman. And I have been actively involved in the legislature and working on bills that help to protect your rights in Idaho and to protect some of the ingress of the drug trafficking and drug problem in Idaho. I do want to mention Representative Heather Scott, because it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have permitless carry, constitutional carry here in the state of Idaho. So I just want to thank her, tell her that she pushed that. She actually drafted the first legislation with the assistance of the Idaho Sheriff's Association. They voted to support it, and because of her actions in pushing this through, July 1st, we are going to be the 8th state in the union to actually have concealed carry. So thank you very much. More importantly, I've been married to my wife Diane for 35 years. I have 4 children and 4 grandchildren. And if you want to learn more about me, there's extensive information on beingforsheriff.com. And if you want to learn more about what's happening at the Sheriff's Office and how interactive we are, I encourage you to go to bonnerso.org. Thank you very much and look forward to your questions.
Good evening. My name is Terry Ford, and I'm running for the office of Bonner County Sheriff's Office. To give you a little bit about me, I was born in Galena, Arkansas many years ago. We moved out here with my folks before I was a year old. I was raised in the Spokane Valley. I started my law enforcement career with Post Falls City Police Department as a reserve and part-time officer. I hired on with Idaho State Police in 1986, and I was stationed up here in Bonner County. I worked the Sandpoint area. My experiences, I've got 35 years of law enforcement experience. I've had the opportunity to be in training. I've also had a lot of supervisory experience. I've had the chance to work with the legislator. There was 2 other officers and I wrote a bill for the protection of the police canine units, and it was introduced into legislature with Senator Schroeder, and it passed unanimously. I have also was a founding member of the Pacific Northwest Police Detection Dog Association, which is an organization that brings canine teams from all over the Pacific Northwest. I was one of the trainers. I was one of the people that set up. I worked the budget on that, so I've had experience with budgets. I've had experience as supervisor with the Idaho State Police, where I would supervise teams during work. I budgetary stuff with the Pacific Northwest Police Detection Dog Association. My own business, which was a shingle mill kennels, taking care of that, the budget part on that. One of the platforms I'm running on the sheriff board is to bring back honesty and integrity back to the sheriff's office and bring back professionalism. Some of the ways I will do this is, one of the main things is an open door policy. My open door policy will not only be for the law enforcement people at the sheriff's office, but they'll be for the citizens of Bonner County. I want to have an open door policy for the citizens to come in. I want to know your concerns. I will be doing the copy with the sheriff. I'll be doing that on a regular basis. Okay. I'll be doing that on a regular basis too, not just the election year. Plus, I'll be doing the visits outside areas, have the people come in. I want to know their concerns. I can't fix things, but I don't know they're broke. Thank you. I appreciate your support.
I'm Todd Sudik. I'm the current Commissioner of District 2, Bonner County. Thank you, the Bonner County Central Committee, for putting this on. I've lived in Bonner County for 35 years, and during that time I've been involved in civic volunteer work, culminating with 14 years on the Bonner County Waterways Committee, where I learned quite a bit about the county. So what does the county commissioner do? Well, they manage the day-to-day operations of the county to begin with. They manage 11 department heads, which is quite a big job. They work with 6 other elected officials and 2 commissioners. They work with our sheriff, civil attorneys, judges, and our prosecutor to ensure that the Bonner County residents are kept safe. And they field calls like we do probably 2 or 3 times a day from individuals, voters and residents of the county that have problems that they need resolved. And we approve the county budget. It's a big job, and as a matter of fact, we had a 0 budget increase this year, 0 levy increase, and that took quite a bit of work. Thank you. So what uniquely qualifies me to be county commissioner? Well, first of all, I know the budget inside and out. In fact, I spearheaded the budget process this last year, and again, we had a 0 levy increase, and we're going to do that again this year. I spent 22 years in the Marine Corps. I retired as a lieutenant colonel. I flew the entire time as a pilot. And in that capacity, I had a lot of command and staff positions where I learned and solidified management techniques that I carry into the county government to this day. I was an airline captain. I retired after 30 years with the airlines and in worldwide operations, ran aircraft and crew in some rather difficult situations. I've owned 4 businesses, and I understand what it takes to run a business. I understand the challenges facing local businesses. One of the businesses was a startup, and so I understand those challenges. I developed solid working relationships with the other commissioners and with our staff in the county. I have followed through on all the campaign promises, by the way, that I made last time around, including reforming and improving planning and zoning. And by the way, those of you who say we shouldn't engage in lawsuits, we just won another one today. By the way, we don't lose. We got $747,000 $747,000 in attorney's fees for our efforts rather than paying out $26 million. So I don't need training wheels to get going in the county this next election cycle. And I've proven that I can manage the county in a business-like, professional way. And I'd like your vote, Todd Siddick, for County Commissioner District 2. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Connolly, and I'm running for Bonner County Commissioner. It's nice of you to all take your evening to be here. It's probably going out of your way to come and listen to a bunch of politicians try to convince you to vote for them. But here we go. I've been born and raised in Bonner County in Priest River. I've worked here my whole life, went to school here, and I raised my family here. So I'm very aware of the needs and the pressing issues in the county. I've been on city council for the last 14 years. We've got a lot accomplished here in town. I think you can ask just about anybody and they would agree with that. I bring management experience from Mike Reynolds Logging for the last 11 years. I worked there 21 and have been a management team member with Mike and Kathy. I have 10 years in youth athletics. I have 18 years working with the Timber Day celebration. I've been in this community my whole life. I think I know what the people want, and I think I can give them that if you elect me on May 17th. Thank you.
I want to thank the Republican Central Committee for putting this on, and also the Precinct Committeemen for all your hard work. I also wanted to thank my opponent, Mr. Rich, at last Thursday's forum. He said we need new blood in the commissioner's office. Since he had a term already, we all remember that. That makes me the new blood, and I appreciate your endorsement. Sorry, let me tell you a little bit about myself, because a lot of you don't know me. My name is Dan McDonald. Came here in Bonner County for the first time 36 years ago with my soon-to-be wife's family to help work in their property, and fell in love with the place. It took a little bit longer to figure out how to find work here, but we've been here 20 years. Been married to my wife for 32, be 33 this year. In fact, in July 3rd. I'm not going to embarrass her by identifying her, she's right there. A little bit about my business background, because when you start looking at the county is really a $55 million corporation. Okay? You have to start asking yourself, when you're looking for people to elect the county commissioner's office, do they have the capacity to run an organization that's budgets $55 million a year and over 300 employees? My background is I used to run a commercial roofing company. That when I took it over, we did about $1.5 million a year in business. I took it to $15 million a year with over 100 employees. From there, I got recruited by this company that allowed me to move to Idaho, where I manage anywhere between $12 and $20 million worth of work every year. I'm a commercial roof consultant. So I deal with all the business work, U of I, State of Idaho, DPW. So I've got a lot of experience, not only managing people, but managing large budgets. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my community service in the closing statement, but let me tell you a little bit more about my vision for the county. I see a county where we bring back service to public service. I see a county where we look for ways to reduce costs so we can reduce taxes. How many people feel like they're paying too much in taxes right now? Raise your hand. Pretty good call. I also think that what we need to do is we need to look out for or we need to create an environment for our young people. My kids can't live here. They can't afford it. They have to live out of town. They can't find work here. We need to do things like the current commissioners have already started doing, and that's reworking the comprehensive plan but I think you can draw a straight line to our high unemployment rate, which is 7.3, although the rest of the state's about 4.2. The fact that there aren't really good paying jobs here, and that our taxes are too high. There's a direct line back to the comprehensive plan, and that's something we need to continue to work on. I hope on May 17th that you will cast a vote my way. I appreciate it.
A lot of you know me. I see a lot of faces out there that I recognize, and I'm running again for a commissioner seat that I didn't think I would do again. The reason I'm running is I have a lot of hot with the current board, with wrongful termination suits, with reclassifying department heads as at-will employees, and for gutted planning and zoning when they had the ability to change the planning and zoning laws that are governing our county. Ask the planning and zoning officials to abide by those rules, and if they didn't, obviously, I would fire them myself. But when you tell them to violate those rules, when they're in place, wrong decision. They're going to lose at least 4 more wrongful termination suits that are been filed right now. They just settled one of them to the advantage of Rob Wakely, who's the former EMS chief. We're going to have more. I just don't understand it when you can change the rules that you have to play by, yet you throw a proper procedure aside and fire people without good cause and end up in wrongful termination issues. Doesn't make sense. We could lose all of them, and I believe we will. Could put the county in the actual position of jeopardy to be uninsurable. I did what I said that I would do when I was elected the first time because of my dedication to Bonner County. I did move here. I immigrated here 36 years ago legally. My wife of 49 years and myself raised 2 kids. I've got 3 grandkids. And I don't disagree with Dan. My kids left the area because they couldn't afford to stay here very long. I have a lot of years of community service and volunteerism. As a volunteer with Sandpoint Fire, Northside Fire, volunteered teaching kids and actually coaching Little League the second year I was here. And I was a part of Bonner County Search and Rescue for well over 20 years, which is now defunct. There's a lot of things I would love to talk to you about that I'll wait also until the final remarks, but I'd appreciate your vote if you want to return to common sense government here. I am a conservative Republican, I always have been. I was accused of running as an independent, it never happened. Check the record, anybody can check that, I've never been an independent. But I would appreciate your vote and your support, thank you.